got an eBay purchase camera in to remove the tape only. That's all that I'm authorized to do. We're going to see what went wrong with it, but we're not going to be, I don't think, fixing this one because the guy that owns it, well, he just bought it. He put one of his tapes into playback and it jammed the tape. So we have to get the tape out without damaging it. A little bit of a procedure to do this. Let's check this one out. This is a Canon ZR200 mini DV camcorder, and apparently it's got a tape stuck inside it. Seems to be jammed. Remove the battery. We'll try powering it up directly. See if that makes any difference. The reason it's trying to unload and reloading again is because when it's trying to unlace the tape, the camera's detecting the tape reel is not turning to wind the tape in, so it reverses and locks up to prevent damaging the tape. Going to remove the hand strap, get that out of the way, and the tape door so that I can observe what is actually happening when it's trying to unload. So we'll remove a couple screws from the tape door here. One thing I will say is that Canon is not Sony. Sony made all their cameras really quite easy to disassemble. I can't say the same for Canon, although some of the Sony cameras were a pain in the ass to open up. But I think all the Canon ones were. Remove the screws and the side cover should lift off. Both the side covers, but this one here definitely. And there's a. I was able to get the tape out by just spinning the take-up spool when it was ejecting. What happens on these cameras, without even having to take it apart, I just had to get the bottom off enough so that I could get to the reel to spin this. What happens on these cameras a lot of times is the pinch roller goes bad. The clip comes off the pinch roller and causes it to jam. And that is exactly what I think has happened on this one. If we look down at the pinch roller, we will see that the little black, can we see it on camera? There's a little retainer, make it a little light out of the way there. Can we see it? Look down, right down here, okay? I bet you this has got a crack in it, and I bet you if I just touch this pinch roller, I bet it's going to come right off. See how loose that is? This has got a crack in it. That little, you guys can't see it because my screwdriver's in the way. Let me get something else to point with. All right, if we look way down here, we will see that this pinch roller is loose. And this little clip, I bet you, has got a crack in it. And it's going to allow the pinch roller to ride up and jam, and then when it jams, it stops the capstan motor from turning. The capstan motor can't turn. It can't turn the take-up spool, and it won't eject the tape. And if I lift this out of here, we'll find that it's got a crack in it. More than likely, that has a crack in it, and that's why it's coming apart. Yes, it does. Let's take a close look. This happens on all these bloody Canon. Canon are a piece of crap. This guy bought this off eBay. You can't tell me that the guy didn't know that his camera was screwed either. But there's a crack. If we look closely at this, we'll see that there's a crack on it. Let's see if we can spot it. Can you see the crack? Light it from a different angle. It's on the bottom here. Let's turn it around. There's the crack. You see the crack? There is a crack right in the middle of that, right down the middle. And that's what holds the pinch roller in place. And what happens is that comes off. And what usually ends up happening with these piece of crap cameras is, as it starts to get loose, the pinch roller starts to do this, and it starts to put creases in the tape and ruins the tape while you're recording. You don't even notice it. You make the recording, and your tape gets chewed while you're doing the recording. It puts diagonal creases across the tape every couple of centimeters. And the problem that happens is when you try to play the tape back, even though the tape might be recorded, well, first of all, you're going to get a lot of digital interference from that, but the biggest headache is that it clogs the heads when you try to play the tape back. So anybody that tries to play the tape ends up with contaminated heads immediately. And I just had 7 tapes come in to transfer over, and 4 of them were like that, and they were live musical performances from a guy that was in a band, and he wanted me to digitize his tapes for him because one of the members of the band passed away and he was doing a documentary. And I was able to do 4 of his 7 tapes because 3 of them were completely damaged, and it would have been damaged by a pinch roller that failed in a manner like this little plastic cap that broke on it. So I don't know if I can find something to put on there to hold that pinch roller in place. You see, I can lift this pinch roller right out. I've got the power removed so that the chassis doesn't go back in, but I can lift this pinch roller right off of here. So what we need to do is we need to find a new retaining clip that will hold that pinch roller in place if I can. Look and see what I can find here that might fit. I could secure this down in place and even maybe put just a tiniest drop of glue on the top. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to push this back into place. I've got the retainer on top here. I'm just going to try to put a tiny drop of glue on top to hold it from shifting up, because what happens is it lifts up and then the pinch roller is out of place, and well, one, it damages tapes. So if I can just get a tiny drop of glue onto my dental pick here and just put it right on top of this piece here to stop it from moving. I'm just using white glue because I don't want anything that's too. I'm just using like white glue like that, like normal wood glue, right? I just want something that's going to adhere to the pin and adhere to the plastic retainer to hopefully prevent it from moving again, because you're never going to find a part like this. I mean, they just don't make them. They haven't made them for forever, and you're not going to find a part for it now. So I'm hoping that it'll just be enough to hold it in place. Maybe the camera will be serviceable for a while. I mean, this is the problem when people buy this old garbage. I hope the guy that bought this didn't pay too much for it, but he bought it off eBay. The guy said it worked. It might have, and then when it got shipped, it got bumped around a bit, and the pinch roller shifted. But if it did work, it certainly wouldn't have worked for very long. It's a problem that happens on all these cameras because the plastic shrinks over time, and on that metal post, it breaks like everything else made out of plastic, and when you got plastic and metal parts. So all we can do is try to replace it or glue it in place or something to see if we can make it work. I'm going to let the glue set up here, and we'll see if this thing will work. Okay, I've let that glue dry now for a bit. Let's just see what happens. It should open and close without a tape in it. We gotta wait and see whether it'll open and close with a tape. I mean, the capstan motor itself could be damaged too, right? Okay. With a thread. You can see if there's any error messages on the screen. I don't see any. What's it say here? If I turn the capstan by hand, you'll see that this wheel does turn, so there is not a problem with the belt or any of the gears. And maybe the capstan motor is got a problem with this one, and that's why it wouldn't eject. It could have been that pinch roller, well, the pinch roller obviously was loose because it was falling apart, but see, the motor won't try to come on when there's no tape in it, only when there's a tape in. But what happens is when you turn it on, it tries to spin things to make sure that they spin. And if things don't spin like they're supposed to, you get an error. And I'm definitely getting an error on this one. When you first fire it up, it does a self-check and it tries to kick the motors to make sure that they can spin. So this has got more problems. I think we're going to have to write this one off. The fellow that brought it to me didn't bring it to me to repair. He brought it to me to remove the tape for him. So that's what I've done. I've removed the tape, and I think we're going to have to just leave it at this, because I think this unit itself has got more problems that are not going to be solvable without it costing a lot of money. A lot more money than this thing is worth spending money on. So it's time to put all the screws back in and send it back. That's how you get a tape out if it's jammed. You have to loosen it off so you can get to the bottom here, because it won't eject until it takes up the tape. It'll start to move, and if it detects that the tape reel is not turning, it then rethreads it again and doesn't continue. So you have to spin the this pulley, which will in turn spin the take-up spool or the supply spool to remove the tape. And while it's ejecting, you just continue to spin it, and then it'll eject. Anyway, there it is, back together. So not much I can do. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Bye.